All right, what's poppin'? We back with another one, boys. Um, you get my laptop open here. Didn't post yesterday, but that's fine. I'm gonna make up for it. Got a little busy. Life was a little hectic. Shit happens. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about. This one's gonna be kind of like a special one. You know, I haven't made a title for it, but let's just call it "Why Crime Doesn't Pay." This is for all the demands that are out there doing like fuck shit, doing whatever. Obviously, this video is not gonna reach you probably until it's too late to reach you, you know. But nonetheless, I'm gonna make it whatever, you know. The doesn't matter. There's just like in the public sector, private sector, crime has its own sector, you know. You can do anything from drugs to money laundering to, like pimping, whatever. There's so much shit people do, you know, in a crime sense. Personally, I'm not advocating for anything, but I don't think there'll ever be a point in time where crime just stops and ceases. Maybe you can bring it down to like a certain level and minimize it, and maybe that should be the goal of society to like minimize it to as low as possible. But crime will never stop. As long as humans draw a breath, crime will never stop. And as long as there's injustices in the world, like, like your boss who pisses you off or who takes credit for shit that you did, or like, people who like do like really stupid, fucked up shit, and like people are just wronged in the wrong way for no reason, crime will never stop, just like well, that will never stop, you know. Needless to say, there's limited, there are limited career paths in crime. It's massive, but there's only so much, like, like of a career you can go. So far you can go, like, like the most you'll get is, like you'll be on the news one day famous for some shit, some fuck shit. It's not like back in the days where people could like actually be like super fucked up criminals and just get away with it for pretty much the whole longevity of their life. Or if people do that, they don't really talk about it, they just do it. Needless to say, eventually the more and more crime and more shit you do is the more attention you draw to yourself. That's for most people who do this shit and they're kind of like stupid. They draw a lot of attention to themselves, unnecessary. Like yeah, eventually the more attention you draw to yourself is the more you're gonna raise eyebrows, the more the police will catch on. Eventually, like there'll be like some investigation or some like operation that the police launches, and the police are patient. They'll wait like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to catch you, because they know that they to catch you they have to have everything documented and it done the right way, so when they catch you they can charge you and they can get the judge to sentence you accordingly based on all the information that they have, which is why they take their time. you know Rarely do you find like officers who are like like they're on like cases, or they're leading like these investigations or operations. They're leading these investigations, and rarely do they ever like like slip up, fuck up, because if you get away like one time, or if you get away like 5 times, 10 times, you get away 100 times, they only need to catch you once to lock you up. And usually when they catch you, they try their whole case, the whole everything they've been building. Even if you weren't the person they were trying to catch, they're gonna pin everything on you. They'll be like, oh yeah, this is the person who did everything. Da, 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 da. That's just how it works, you know. So there are really like limited career paths, and law enforcement always catches on because it's the job of law enforcement to catch on. Somebody reports something, something gets known, somebody catches on, shit goes. Shit goes sideways. You know, um, yeah. Eventually, depending on how serious whatever shit you're doing or whatever you were doing or whatever fuck shit you're doing, um, you gotta go on the lam, You gotta go on the run like take care, I'm the take care, I didn't even got the action. You want that? Yeah, that's my driveway, and it won't shut up. But yeah, eventually you gotta go on the lam, you gotta go on the run, you gotta do, you gotta be hiding out, ducking out. You can't be talking to some of your family members. You can't be letting people know where you stay. You gotta be watching over your back constantly, because you never know, when a police car pulls up beside you and in your whip, you're tensed up, you don't know what the fuck, you don't know if he's just doing his regular rounds or you don't know if he's scoping you out. So living on the lam is something that a lot of people aren't used to, and if you didn't grow up in a really, really tough situation, then living on the lam is something that a lot of people can't even do, can't even hold out. Yeah, if you didn't grow up in a place where like you were around constant violence, constant crime, constant all this shit, and living on the lam for like 6 months, 1 year, that shit seems like impossible. It's not worth it either. You know, the the career path for criminals or for people who like do crime or people who are like, whatever is like diminishing returns. I mean, at first it starts like, because always when you spike and making money, you always go like either like steady growth, which is rare, or the most common one. You peak up and you stay at that peak, you plateau for a little while, and then you just start to go down, down, down. Until eventually, whatever, you get busted or somebody gets busted, the organization gets busted, somebody goes to jail, and then it gets restarted. Boom, boom, everything rinse and repeat. It's like a formula for this. Yeah. But, yeah. Also, another big thing is if you're making money for the first time, like it's your first time making actual real bread, like real bread. I'm talking like bank, like if it's your first time, chances are you're gonna blow it, and it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. Whenever it's your first time, like stumbling into a shit ton of cash, like if you have no financial foundation or no education, you're gonna spend all of that. You're gonna be going to Salvatore Ferragamo, G. Saint Laurent. You're gonna be cashing out. You're gonna be buying diamond watches, diamond chains. You're gonna be doing all of that shit that you wish you had, that life you wish you had lived. Now you have the money to do it. You're gonna be doing that, and you can't blame yourself for doing that because everybody's done it. Um, yeah, when it's your first time as a youngin running into so much cash, you don't know what to do. You go cash crazy, it makes you stupid. In fact, so you can't blame yourself for spending all that bread because it was your first time. If you had done it, if you had another chance and you did it again, knowing what you knew, you wouldn't do it like that. You would probably make some smart investments, buy some stocks, some real estate, some property, whatever, whatever. Right? But your first time making a big bag, you're gonna always blow it. That's everybody. That's like scammers, trappers, rappers. That's everybody. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Crime, like doing, like all this fucked up shit is also mathematically unsound. The math doesn't really support it nowadays. I'm not a math guy, but I can just tell, like it's like I said, diminishing returns. Even if you find some lick or some shit that you can hit for like years and years on end, it's not going to be anything compared to an actual career path where you don't have to look over your shoulders. You don't have to worry about this. You don't have to be around certain types of people because crime always puts you around the type of criminals, right? Around the wrong type of people, you know? Yeah, so it's gonna be diminishing returns where on one end you're making a shit ton of money, you're around the wrong type of people, you're doing the wrong type of shit, and over like a period of 5 to 10 years, that diminishes. Versus if you find yourself a career path, something you enjoy, maybe you'll start small, but like you'll be around the right people or better people at least in the next 5 to 10 years that appreciates into a skill. Crime is also a skill, whatever part of crime you know to do is a skill, but like it's a skill that the returns diminish versus on the flip side, the returns appreciate over time, Yeah. And then now I'm at my final point, so I'm gonna wrap this up because today I don't feel so good. I even gotta cover my hair because I'm having a little bit of a bad hair day. But yeah, like I said, it puts you around the wrong type of people, and the people you're around are just as important as what you're doing, you know, because sometimes you're not even doing anything. Sometimes you're not even involved in crime, but the people you're around will get you involved simply by osmosis, you know. Yeah, so you need to look out for your own head, look out for yourself. And if you're doing whatever, fuck shit, if you're doing crime, if you're doing whatever, you gotta plan yourself an exit strategy. You gotta look at it as a means to an end. How can I get the fuck out of here in like 5 years, in like 2 years, 3 years? Because if you get bagged, if you get caught, you know you're spending at least minimum like 3 to 6 or 5 to 9 inside, you know, inside a cell, you know, and then you're gonna really be with criminals, you know, and then you're gonna have no options. Then you're gonna have to watch TV through bars that are behind bars through a cell door, you know. So yeah, it's really it's not worth it most of the time, you know. And if you are doing fucking stupid shit, just think about your exit strategies. Just keep it in your head. You don't have to make any actions that you don't want. My thing is I don't like to force people to do anything because, you know, like telling people to do shit is like when someone tells me to do something, I do the opposite, frankly. So I don't like to tell people to do shit and then I know you're not gonna do shit anyways, but it's good to have the knowledge and the insight so that you can know, you know, how you should roll or how you should move in the streets, you know. Yeah. Anyways, this video is probably longer than it should have been. Yeah. If you enjoyed, subscribe, comment what kind of videos you want to see. It's your boy.